moderates
It
here
is
on
never
the channel.
worth it to stay at the All-Stars.
What's the benefit of staying at the All-Stars versus staying at the Marriott? That's...
Bobby?
Listen, I'm with Becky. There's absolutely no excuse to stay at the All-Stars. I don't care what your reasoning is. Please, God, just avoid it like coronavirus in the plague.
Welcome, Walt Disney World fans. It's another episode of the Notcast, presented by NotClub33.com. This week's show, we're talking about, is it worth it to stay on Disney property? Well, not exactly. Is it worth it to stay at a Disney-owned hotel versus just simply staying on property? We'll get to that in a second. Let's first introduce who's here with me. I am Steve Rhodes. I've got Becky Wells here.
Hey, how's it going?
Pat Neistat is also here.
What's up? How's it going?
Bobby Burgess of
Northern.
Disney Cynics in the building. What's up, man?
What? Okay.
That was just
Yeah.
me doing
Forgot, yeah.
Little John. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you just did his whole catalog. Then.
Yes, I did.
And all the viewers left.
Yeah, we've probably had to pull Bobby's audio level down.
So sorry about that, and sorry for doing something that Dave Chappelle did 20 years ago. My bad, guys. So,
He did. All right. So, guys, Disney World hotels, they own 30 some odd hotels, but on their property, specifically at Disney Springs, there are a handful of places you can stay, Hiltons, Marriotts, Holiday Inns, and whatnots, that are considered on property. They still get the benefits of a regular Disney hotel, but they come in basically a value level price. You're getting moderate to deluxe level accommodations at pretty much what you're going to pay to stay at the All-Stars. Is it still worth it to stay at a place like the All-Stars or a moderate hotel? I know we kind of bash the moderates here.
It is
on
never
the channel.
worth it to stay at the All-Stars.
Well, okay, so let's start there. The All-Star, staying at a value level hotel, I know you've done Pop Century before, Becky, and also Art of Animation. Those prices are running, sometimes pushing $300 a night at those two hotels, which are considered value level. But you can stay, on the Disney Springs side of things for $150, $180, something like that a night, sometimes pushing $200. So what would make you want to book a value level resort?
I'm going to be contrary. I'm not. I'm going to stay at Shades of Green. But
Well, yeah, as a military member of our military, yes. Average Joe.
I was gonna say, let me interject there.
Yeah.
So my recent trip that I went on, we stayed at Pop Century. We paid $150 a night for it.
Okay.
And I would say that would be the place to stay if you're going to stay at
You can get it at that rate, yeah.
a value resort, because you have the Skyliner right there, so you have easy access to. You don't have to worry about the bus, the two parks. You stay at Disney Springs, you either have to Uber or you have to take that bus that stops at every one of the damn hotels before you go to a park. So I would say that minor inconvenience to me, I would pick Pop Century. Lesser accommodation, but you have the Skyliner.
Yeah, it's a much lesser accommodation. It's not, it wouldn't even be close.
And the rooms actually in Pop Century or inside are nice. The one I stayed in is new. It's modern.
Yeah,
It's small.
the refurbishment really
it's
did
real small,
justice
but
to, yeah.
Kind of a side point that that's one of the reasons why I think Disney is homogenizing those value and moderate rooms to make them look like Hiltons and Marriotts, is because that's kind of the competition for them in the price point. So
yeah.
Well, and they've got to justify that price that they had to hike up, because once the Skyliner started, they had to raise those prices too. And you can't charge that shit for what those rooms used to be.
But they're charging it at the
that's
All-Stars
not-
too. They're charging $175 a night over at All-Star when it's just a straight bus. So, What's the
Yeah.
what's the
I mean, they
benefit of
just redid
staying
some of
at
those,
the
but-
All Stars? What's the benefit of staying at the All Stars versus staying at the Marriott? That's
Bobby?
Listen, I'm with Becky. There's absolutely no excuse to stay at the All Stars. I don't care what your reasoning is. Please, God, just avoid it like coronavirus in the plague. I will say that I am becoming more open to the idea of staying at different resorts that are not Disney owned. Certainly, the Swan and Dolphin fall into that category, and they're right next to Yacht and Beach and Boardwalk. So
Cannot beat that location.
Still,
but that's a
better
moderate
than-
price range.
Exactly.
That's Caribbean Beach Resort. That's Port Orleans rates, but you're staying in a quote unquote deluxe.
Yeah, I'd stay in the
And then
Swan
we're
and Dolphin
also-
probably over those two mentioned.
Oh yeah.
And then we're also talking about something like Coronado Springs, which your basic room over there is going to cost you like $300 a night. But if you want to stay in Grand Destino Tower and have the king room, it's like $800 a night. I looked into this recently because I got super interested in staying there after Pat and I went to go to Toledo, and like, well, shit, I have to reevaluate all of this stuff because there's no way I can buy DVC
The time
points.
to stay there was right when it opened.
Yeah, apparently.
Because that shit has gotten
It
expensive.
really has. Now that being said, I've stayed at the B over off of Hotel Boulevard. It's not bad. It really isn't. It caters to a more European crowd. Like literally, the plugs that you plug like appliances and shit into are the European.
They're universal.
Like 240 volt plugs or whatever. But like, okay, I guess I can get over some of this stuff. Like there's definitely some interesting options that are out there for you, and even off property. There's Orlando is home to just a ton of resorts that you don't even really think about. I'm not even talking about like Universal and stuff over by SeaWorld. The Grand Lakes over the area. It's got a Marriott and a Ritz-Carlton that are both like $350 or $400 a night. That's way better of a deal than a moderate in most situations. And yes, you have to schlep it over to Disney, but it's a way nicer resort than what you're getting over at Disney. So, I mean, if transportation's not a factor, like that's the only factor that I can come up with to justify staying at a value or a moderate at this point is just that you want that every 20 minutes for a bus. That's the only reason that I can justify it. Outside of that, you can get way better bang for your buck elsewhere.
Well, I mean, if you're staying completely off property, you're also not getting early access to the parks.
True.
Whereas the Disney Springs hotels
minutes.
do get they get the 30 minutes access to the parks early, and they also get 7 a.m. access to the Genie Plus and the Lightning Lane attractions, which I know we kind of shat all over that in a previous episode, but there's a benefit. There's going to be some benefit to Genie Plus. At Bobby, as you talked about on your recent show. There's going to be some benefit to it if you're doing, a busy day at Hollywood Studios or Magic Kingdom.
Right.
I wouldn't use, like we said, we're not going to use it at Epcot or Animal Kingdom or something like that. But, having access to that is nice, and you don't have to stay at a Disney hotel to get that. You can get it at Disney Springs, and you can get it at Swan and Dolphin. Hell, Swan and Dolphin gets the deluxe level. They even get the next level up where they can stay later in the park. And they're paying moderate prices. It's almost like Disney's trying to push you out of staying at a moderates and the values. To me, I don't know.
And listen, if you love the theming of your resorts, and that seems to be like a big key to a lot of people as to why they stay on property in the first place. Like, listen, all the deluxe resorts, obviously, they're bar none, head and shoulders above a lot of other places when it comes to theming. When it comes to even some of the moderates, they're pretty dead on too. Don't get me wrong, especially Coronado Springs, but that's why you're paying almost deluxe level pricing for Grand Destino. Listen, if we're talking about budgetary purposes, we've all said it before in some way, shape, or form. Rent DVC points if you really have to stay on property, but absolutely consider staying at one of these other resorts if you're looking to get more bang for your buck. So it's all gonna flow back to Disney somehow, some way. So
Yeah. The only thing I would say about staying on if we get to like Pop Century, just the convenience of that Skyliner being right there,
Yeah.
as to where there's not really a convenience staying off property or one of the Disney Springs hotels.
Yeah, but I mean,
Like that, just small little
there's
factor.
nights where, yeah, there's nights when Pop Century is over, well over $200, and if I can get Swan and Dolphin for that same price, and I can walk to Epcot,
Sure.
I mean,
Yeah.
what are we
Yeah.
talking about?
Yeah.
I mean, maybe
No,
not
yeah, but I
Dolphin
don't.
with
I
a
don't think
double
you're
bed,
getting.
but
Yeah. I'm just.
And
I'm
you're
just
getting
pointing out.
Swan and Dolphin for $350. I think that's like about the max.
350
I
like
looked
at
in,
peak. That's like
Yeah.
peak. Spring break, I can get Swan and Dolphin. I looked, it's like 275. It's
Yeah, that's not bad.
that's middle of March of 2022 during the height of spring break. That's what Disney's pricing their moderate level resorts at that week. Actually, the moderate level resorts are higher. They're $299. So, I'm actually considering going down and debating between Disney Springs and Swan and Dolphin, and not even looking at Disney-owned property.
Swan. And there's a Swan Reserve open now.
Well,
too.
it's
Yeah, that one's
after a 7-day trip, you're looking at about $1,000 difference in price. So there's what I'm kicking around is between those two, but I'm not even considering
Access.
unless I can find Disney DVC points to rent on a confirmed reservation or something. I'm not even going to consider staying at a Disney-owned resort because,
Where I differ
By the way,
is if I can find Pop Century for $150. I mean, to me that
answer once
That's
the
a good deal.
free transportation to your resort goes away on January 1st. Like, no, we've already.
I think
talked
that's what we're
about
kind of
no,
looking at now.
we
I mean,
Ubered
You add
anyways.
that in
We
your-
didn't even use.
Or, okay.
Yeah, I mean, Magical Express.
Well, if you drive down,
Yeah, Magical Express. I pretty much was only using it to go back. I usually Ubered in because I wanted to get to the parks faster, and you just take the free ride back, which was fine. But that being said, there's a lot of people out there that didn't have to budget for it, and now they do. And I mean, if you're watching this show, chances are you're not riding the Magical Express for your next trip to Disney. This show's airing in the middle of November of 2021. If you're watching this, you're not. Your chances are your Magical Express is not going to be a thing for you. So,
by the way, shameless
really the only thing
plug.
Disney. Yeah,
If I may throw in for one of our more recent Cynics on Disney podcasts, where we recently stayed at the Old Key West and did so on rented points and everything. Guys, that's the best value that there is out there for renting DVC points. Like hands down, bar none. So
Yeah.
I mean, I literally
points
paid
per night for
190.
sure. That place is great.
I think I paid $199.
How much?
For $199.
That's good. Yeah.
off-season Old Key West is dirt
Those
cheap.
rooms are huge.
Yeah.
And now they have the boat running back to Disney Springs. So if you're into nightlife, you have that going on. Old Key West is a good spot, and then
You got to take buses to the parks, right?
You do.
Yeah.
I hate those buses. I really hate those buses.
You really do. You
God.
love
I would
that
just Uber.
Skyliner, man. And I'm like,
I would
it's
just Uber.
just
but
I
you
just
can
want
rent-
something
yeah,
I
but you
can
rent
get
DVC
on
points
and
you can park
go.
your car for free.
Yeah.
Sometimes you
Jet
have to
track.
wait 30 minutes for a damn bus. Like God.
Yeah.
just
Disney
Rent
poor
buses
DVC
are
timing
not
on your part.
cool.
And park for free. Drive your own car. Park for free.
It's very true. I have an annual pass. It
But
comes
then-
free.
then there's the
Or
rental car
Uber.
expense.
I mean, seriously, my thought process next time I'm in Disney and I don't want to ride a bus, I'm just going to Uber. I
Yep.
don't care.
Yep.
It's just so much more convenient.
I'm with you.
I don't know.
Yeah,
It costs more, but
With your beautiful nuclear family, you're right.
That's why I stay at resorts where I can walk to at least a park, if not two, and or take a monorail, a boat, or a Skyliner somewhere, because that's what I
There you
prefer
go.
to do.
it's
'Cause I don't
easier.
want to mess with those damn buses. But hey, Uber's your friend.
Triggered.
Go back and listen to Bobby's podcast. He mentioned it. The link to his show is down in the description below. For everybody here at Not Club 33, thanks for tuning in. Make sure you get subscribed if you're not already. Smack that like button if you like the episode. And hit the notification icon. That's that bell-looking thing down there so you know when we upload videos to our channel. For everybody here at Not Club 33, have a great week. We'll see you next Friday.